2 years after New Busan burned, the solar system looked like a different place. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid had become a weapon factory. The peaceful civilization that had existed for decades was gone. In its place stood the largest war machine in galactic history. Gite Park commanded the Titan shipyard complex near Saturn. The facility was so large it could be seen from 1,000,000 kilometers away. Every day, 10,000 new warships rolled off his production lines. Every day, another 10,000 workers arrived to expand the yards even further. Gitai stood in his control center, watching the morning shift begin. Yujin Han operated the hull assembly robots on level 47. Seok Jin O managed the weapons installation bay on level 23. Thousands of workers like them lived their entire lives inside the shipyard, sleeping in orbital habitats that existed only to support warship production. How many today? Gite asked his production manager. 10,412 ships completed, came the reply. The new efficiency improvements are working. We're ahead of schedule. Gite nodded and updated his reports. Earth wanted numbers, and he gave them numbers. In 2 years, the Titan complex alone had built 7 million warships. Across the solar system, 47 other shipyard complexes were producing similar results. The math was simple and terrifying. Humanity was building warships faster than some species could count them. Dr. Bo Young Kim led the ship design committee on Mars. Her job was making sure human warships could destroy alien ones. She had studied every piece of hegemony technology, captured from New Busan. What she learned changed everything. The aliens build their ships like castles, Dr. Kim explained to war correspondent Min Ho Cho. Big, heavy, expensive vessels meant to last for centuries. Each ship carries thousands of crew members and enough supplies for years of independent operation. She brought up holographic displays showing both human and alien ship designs side by side. We build our ships like bullets. Smaller, faster, cheaper vessels designed for one purpose, destroying the enemy. Our largest ships carry maybe 50 crew members. Our smallest ships are almost completely automated. Min Ho Cho was documenting the war preparation for the historical archives. He still couldn't believe the scale of what humanity was doing. How many alien ships would it take to stop one of our attack fleets? Dr. Kim smiled coldly. Our computer simulations suggest that 50,000 human ships can destroy the entire hegemony fleet. We're building 500,000 ships. We're not planning to fight them. We're planning to erase them. On Earth, Dr. Haewon Jung ran the Advanced Weapons Division. Her team had spent 2 years developing weapons that would make even hardened soldiers sick. She worked with specialists like Jun Ho Yu, who designed kinetic bombardment systems that could crack continents in half. Biowarfare specialist So Hee Na created virus bombs that could kill every living thing on a planet within hours. Her weapons were so deadly that she needed special permission from President Han just to test them on uninhabited worlds. But the most terrifying weapons came from Chan Wu Seo's nanite laboratory. His microscopic robots could disassemble alien ships at the molecular level. A single nanite swarm could reduce a massive alien dreadnought to its component atoms in minutes. The aliens think war is about honor and glory, Dr. Jung explained to her staff. They build weapons to defeat enemies in fair combat. We build weapons to end civilizations. When they see what we've created, they'll understand the difference. Intelligence. Director Yejin Ryu spent her days reading reports from deep space. Human spy ships watched every hegemony world, counting their fleets and studying their responses to the human military buildup. The news she brought to President Han was both encouraging and worrying. The hegemony is mobilizing, Director Ryu reported. But they're moving slowly. The Vorthak want to attack Earth immediately. The other species want to negotiate. They're spending more time arguing with each other than preparing for war. President. Han studied the intelligence reports. What about their ship production? Minimal, Ryu replied. They've increased their shipyard output by maybe 30%. In 2 years, they've built perhaps 5,000 new vessels. They still don't understand what we're capable of. But some aliens were beginning to understand. Intercepted communications showed panic among hegemony military leaders. They had expected humans to build a defensive fleet around Earth. Instead, They were watching humanity construct an invasion force larger than anything in galactic history. Admiral Ji-Hoon Baek commanded the Third Fleet during war games near Jupiter. His force of 50,000 ships was practicing attack formations that would terrify any alien observer. Each ship in his fleet was designed to work perfectly with all the others. Human naval doctrine emphasized coordination and overwhelming firepower. Execute Pattern 7, Admiral Beck commanded. 50,000 ships moved as one, flowing through space like a river of steel and death. Their weapons locked onto target asteroids and fired simultaneously. The asteroids simply ceased to exist, vaporized by the combined firepower of the human fleet. Admiral Bayek watched the destruction with satisfaction. This was just one of 12 attack fleets. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Back on Luna Station, Jae-min Lee was finally healthy enough to leave the medical center. His wife Yoon-ji Choi had recovered from her injuries and was working with the other New Busan survivors to support the war effort. Jae-min volunteered for the Colonial Reconstruction Corps. His job would be rebuilding human colonies after the war ended. But first he wanted to see what humanity had built for revenge. He took a transport to the Titan shipyard complex, where Gi-tae Park gave him a personal tour. The scale of the facility shocked even Jae-min, who had worked in large industrial operations his whole life. "This is just one shipyard," Gi-tae explained as they watched thousands of completed warships launching toward the fleet assembly areas. "We have 47 others like it, plus the smaller yards around Earth, Mars, and Venus, plus the automated factories in the asteroid belt." Jae-min watched a new ship launch every 30 seconds. "How many ships do we have now?" "As of this morning, 437,000 combat vessels," Gi-tae replied. "We'll reach 500,000 in 6 months. Then we start building the second wave." "Second wave?" Jae-min asked. Gi-tae nodded grimly. "President Han wants 1,000,000 ships total, just in case the first 500,000 isn't enough." That evening, Jae-min sent another message to Earth. The survivors of New Busan had become symbols of human determination, and people listened when they spoke. "2 years ago, I watched my world burn," Jae-min said. "I thought my life was over. I thought humanity had lost something we could never get back. I was wrong. We didn't lose anything. We just learned what we really are." He gestured toward the shipyards visible outside the station windows. "Look around you. Look at what we've built." The aliens thought they were teaching us a lesson about power. Instead, they taught us what human industry looks like when we stop holding back. Jaemin's voice grew stronger. "To the hegemony forces watching our transmissions, I have a simple message. You killed 2 million innocent people. You destroyed our first colony. You thought that would make us afraid, but humans aren't afraid of you. We're angry. And you're about to learn the difference." President Han watched the message from her office on Earth. Outside her windows, she could see the orbital elevators carrying supplies to the massive fleet assembly areas. Every few minutes, another completed warship would rise from the planet's shipyards. The human war machine was almost ready. Soon, the aliens who destroyed New Busan would face the consequences of their actions. 500,000 human warships against 50,000 alien vessels. It wouldn't even be a fair fight. But then again, the aliens hadn't fought fair when they burned New Busan. Now they would learn what happened when humans stopped fighting fair too. The news reached Earth on a Tuesday morning. Captain Dong Hyun-yoon's transport ship limped into Luna Station carrying 30,000 survivors and a recording that would change human history forever. President Mi Young-han watched the footage. In her office, she saw the green fields of New Busan burning. She heard the screams of families separated in the evacuation. She watched 2 million innocent people die in flames from space. When the recording ended, the president sat in silence for 10 minutes. Then she made a call that woke up the entire Solar Defense Council. Within 6 hours, every news channel on Earth was showing the destruction of New Busan. People stopped working, they stopped eating, they stopped talking. They just watched their first colony burn over and over again. Chang Ho-song was welding hull plates at the Luna orbital yards when he saw the news. The big shipyard worker had never been angry enough to cry before. But watching children die on New Busan broke something inside him. He went to his supervisor and volunteered for double shifts, then triple shifts. Then he just stopped going home. "I'll work until we build enough ships to make them pay," Chang-ho told his worried wife over a video call. "Every hour I sleep is another hour those aliens think they're safe." Across Earth, the same thing happened everywhere. Ye Jin-bei was a peaceful agricultural engineer who had never hurt anyone in her life. She quit her job growing food and joined the military logistics department. Her new mission was figuring out how to feed the largest army in human history. President Mi Young-han appeared on every screen in the solar system that evening. The whole human race watched as she spoke. "Citizens of Earth and all human colonies," she began, her voice steady and cold. "3 weeks ago, alien forces calling themselves the Hegemony murdered 2.3 million innocent people. They destroyed our first colony. They think this makes them strong. They think this makes us afraid." The president paused, letting her words sink in. "They are wrong. Humanity has been at peace for 60 years. We chose peace because we are strong enough to choose. But peace was our choice, not our weakness. The aliens have made their choice. Now we will make ours." Admiral Tae-hyung-no had been sleeping when the president called him. The old Solar Defense Force commander thought he would spend his retirement fishing on Mars. Instead, he found himself in the biggest war room ever built, looking at plans that scared him. "Madam President," he said, studying the documents. "These numbers can't be right. You want to build 500,000 warships?" President Han nodded. "That's just the start, Admiral. Dr. Sun-mi Kwan will explain." Dr. Sun-mi Kwan had spent her career studying industrial efficiency. She knew exactly how much Earth could produce when everyone worked together. The numbers were bigger than most people could imagine. "For 60 years, Dr. Kwan explained, we've limited our industry to protect the environment. Our factories run at 30% capacity. Our mines barely scratch the surface. Our orbital yards build a few dozen ships per year. We do this because we chose to live in balance with nature." She brought up a holographic display showing the solar system. "But we can change that choice. If we mobilize completely, we can build ships faster than any civilization in galactic history. The asteroid belt alone contains enough metal for 10 million warships." Mining engineer Woo Jin-im stepped forward. He had worked the asteroid mines for 20 years, but always carefully, always sustainably. Now the president wanted him to strip every rock clean. "We can do it," Woo Jin said. "But it means emptying the entire belt. Every asteroid from Mars to Jupiter. When we're done, there won't be any mining left for our grandchildren. Our grandchildren won't need to mine asteroids if we lose this war," President Han replied. Fleet Admiral Kyung-ho An had been studying alien intelligence reports for 3 decades. He knew more about the hegemony than any human alive. What he told the council made everyone understand how serious this was. "The hegemony is 4 species working together," Admiral An explained. "The Vorthak are warriors, the Zelani are traders, the Korvathi are scientists. The Brethren keep to themselves but share technology. Together they control over 1,000 star systems." He brought up images of alien ships. Their total military force is approximately 50,000 warships. They've been the dominant power in this region of space for 800 years. They've never lost a major war. President Han studied the alien ship designs. "What do their intelligence reports say about us?" Admiral An smiled grimly. "They think we're farmers and merchants, peaceful colonists who will retreat if threatened. They've never encountered a species that would sacrifice economic prosperity for military revenge. They expect us to negotiate or surrender." "How wrong are they?" the president asked. "Completely wrong," Dr. Kwan answered. "If we mobilize every shipyard, every factory, every mining operation in the solar system, we can build 500,000 warships in 3 years. The hegemony couldn't build 50,000 new ships in 10 years. The room fell silent as everyone understood what this meant. Humanity was about to transform from a peaceful civilization into the largest military force in the galaxy. Meanwhile, in the survivor camps on Luna Station, Jae-min Lee was recovering from his injuries. His wife, Yoon-ji Choi, was still unconscious from the wounds she suffered during the evacuation. But Jae-min could see the changes starting all around him. Shipyard workers like Chang Ho Song were building 3 times faster than before. Engineers like He Jin Bei were designing supply chains for massive armies. Even the doctors treating the new Busan survivors were working extra shifts. Jae Min asked for access to the communication system. He wanted to send a message to Earth. "Name is Jae Min Lee," he said, speaking to cameras that would broadcast his words across the solar system. "I lived on New Busan for 5 years. I watched it burn. I watched my neighbors die. I held my wounded wife as we fled from our home." His voice grew stronger as he continued. "The aliens who did this think they taught us a lesson. They think they showed us that humans are weak. They think we'll be afraid to build new colonies or explore new worlds." Jae Min stood up slowly, his bandaged body shaking with effort. "But I have news for the hegemony. You didn't kill farmers and merchants on New Busan. You killed human beings. And humans remember. We remember every face, every name, every life you took. We remember. And we're coming for you." The message spread across Earth in minutes. By the end of the day, it was playing in every factory, every shipyard, every military base in the solar system. President Han watched the message and smiled. This was exactly what humanity needed to hear. She turned to Admiral No. "How long until we can launch the first attack fleet?" 3 years if everything goes perfectly," the Admiral replied. "Make it 2 years," President Han ordered. "And Admiral, I want those aliens to spend every day of those 2 years wondering when we're coming. Let them see our ship production reports. Let them count our fleet numbers. Let them understand what human industry looks like when we choose war instead of peace." In the orbital yards around Earth, the transformation was already beginning. Chang Ho Song and thousands of workers like him were expanding the shipyards faster than anyone thought possible. The peaceful Solar Defense Force was becoming the human, expeditionary fleet. The aliens had destroyed one human world. Soon they would face the entire human species at war, and humans, as they were about to learn, were very good at building things, including the tools of destruction. 3 years after New Busan burned, the largest fleet in galactic history left the solar system. 503,847 human warships moved through space like a steel river flowing toward enemy territory. Supreme. Commander Insu Jiang stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Righteous Fury, watching his fleet stretch across space as far as sensors could detect. The massive ship was 10 times larger than anything humans had built before the war. Its weapons could destroy moons. Its armor could survive direct hits from alien planet killers. But the Righteous Fury was just one ship among hundreds of thousands. Admiral He Jin Lim commanded the Northern Attack Group with 100,000 vessels. General Sang Woo Kang led the Southern Assault Force with another 100,000 ships. The remaining 300,000 warships formed the Central Strike Fleet under Commander Jiang's direct control. "All fleet elements report ready for combat," Admiral Lim announced over the command channel. "Enemy forces are tracked and targeted. We await your orders, Commander." Insu Jiang studied the tactical displays showing hegemony space. Intelligence reports indicated the aliens had 43,000 ships defending their core worlds. The humans outnumbered them 12 to 1. But Jiang was taking no chances. "All forces, this is Supreme Commander Jiang," he broadcast to the entire fleet. "Today we begin Operation Righteous Storm. Our mission is simple. Destroy every hegemony military vessel, occupy every hegemony world, and arrest every alien leader responsible for the New Busan massacre." The first target was the border fortress at Kepler 442. The massive alien base controlled 3 star systems and housed 8,000 hegemony warships. It was considered impregnable by galactic military standards. Vorthak Admiral Thekmore commanded the fortress defense. He had fought 17 battles in his long career and never lost one. His ships were arranged in perfect defensive formations around the station. His weapons were charged and ready. His crew was the best the hegemony could provide. When his sensors detected the approaching human fleet, Admiral Thekmore thought there was a malfunction. "Run the sensor sweep again," he ordered his tactical officer. "Those numbers cannot be correct." The tactical officer ran the scan 3 more times. Each time, the result was the same. Admiral, I confirm 50,000 human vessels approaching our position. Range, 2 million kilometers and closing. Admiral Thekmore felt his blood turn cold. 50,000 ships was larger than most hegemony sector fleets, but this was supposed to be a minor human attack force. Intelligence reports suggested the humans had maybe a few hundred ships total. Send an immediate message to Hegemony High. Command, Admiral Thekmore ordered. Tell them the human fleet is much larger than expected. Request immediate reinforcements. The response from High Command was not encouraging. No reinforcements available. All reserve fleets are defending core worlds. You must hold Kepler 442 with existing forces. Admiral Thekmore looked at his 8,000 ships and tried to imagine fighting 50,000 human vessels. The math was impossible. But he was a Vorthak warrior. He would die before he surrendered. Communications operator Daeun Kim aboard the human ship. New Busan's vengeance opened a channel to the alien fortress. Her message was broadcast on all frequencies so every alien in the system could hear it. Hegemony, forces at Kepler 442. This is the human expeditionary fleet. You are ordered to surrender immediately. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. This is your only warning. Admiral Thekmore responded with typical Vorthak pride. Human scum. The hegemony does not surrender to inferior species. Come and die like your colonists did at New Busan. Daeun Kim looked at her commander and shrugged. They want to do this the hard way. Supreme Commander Yang nodded grimly. All ships begin the attack. Show them what happened to the last aliens who mentioned New Busan. The Battle of Kepler 442 began with a demonstration of human tactical superiority. Instead of charging directly, at the alien fortress, the human fleet split into dozens of smaller groups. Each group attacked from a different angle, using speed and coordination to confuse the enemy. Tactical coordinator Jongmin Shin orchestrated the assault from his command ship. He had studied alien combat doctrine for 2 years and knew exactly how to defeat it. Hegemony fleets fought like ancient armies with rigid formations and predictable tactics. Human fleets fought like swarms of angry insects impossible to track or counter. Group 7, execute flanking maneuver Delta, Jongmin commanded. Group 12, begin bombardment of target cluster 4. All fighter squadrons, commence attack. Runs on the central station. Fighter pilot Sujin Park led her squadron toward the alien fortress. Her small, fast ships darted between the massive hegemony vessels like sparrows attacking eagles. The aliens couldn't target the human fighters without hitting their own ships. Target the command centers, Sujin ordered her pilots. Take out their communications and they can't coordinate their defense. Her squadron's bombs found their targets with deadly precision. Alien command ships exploded in brilliant fireballs, leaving the other hegemony vessels blind and confused. Admiral Thekmore watched his perfect defense dissolve into chaos. The humans fought like nothing he had ever encountered. They didn't care about honor or glory. They just wanted to win as quickly and efficiently as possible. All ships, concentrate fire on the human command vessel, he ordered desperately. If we destroy their leader, maybe the rest will retreat. But the aliens couldn't identify which ship carried the human commander. Every human vessel looked similar, and they all fought with equal skill and determination. The hegemony forces fired, wildly, hoping to hit something important. The human response was swift and devastating. When the aliens targeted one human ship, 50 other ships immediately destroyed the alien vessel that fired. The hegemony fleet began disappearing at an alarming rate. Admiral, we've lost 3,000 ships, Thekmore's tactical officer reported. The humans have lost maybe 200 vessels. At this rate, we'll be completely destroyed within the hour. Admiral Thekmore realized he was facing something unprecedented in galactic history. The humans weren't just winning the battle. They were demonstrating that they could win any battle against any hegemony force. The alien fortress fell after 4 hours of combat. Admiral Thekmore died at his command post, still trying to coordinate a defense that had been hopeless from the beginning. His final message to Hegemony High Command was simple and terrifying. The humans are coming. We cannot stop them. As news of the human victory spread through hegemony space, panic began to set in. The other 3 species of the Hegemony had never wanted to fight humans in the first place. The commercial Zilani saw war as bad for business. The scientific Korvathi thought violence was primitive and wasteful. The isolationist Brethren just wanted to be left alone. Diplomatic attaché Hyunju Choi intercepted alien communications revealing the growing cracks in the hegemony alliance. The Zilani were secretly negotiating separate peace deals with human trade representatives. The Korvathi were offering to share advanced technology in exchange for protection. Even some Brethren colonies were sending surrender messages. Only the Vorthak remained committed to total war. But the Vorthak were learning that commitment wasn't enough when facing overwhelming human industrial power. On Earth, factory worker Sung Ho Yoon and his team celebrated by launching the 600,000th human warship. The second wave of the fleet was already forming. If the first 500,000 ships weren't enough to defeat the hegemony, another 500,000 were ready to launch. President Mi Young-han watched the battle reports from her office. The human fleet had captured the Kepler 442 system with minimal losses. 3 star systems now flew human flags instead of hegemony banners. But the real target was still ahead. Vorthak Prime, the military capital of the hegemony, was defended by their remaining 43,000 ships. It would be the largest battle in galactic history. Supreme Commander Jang sent his final message to Earth before beginning the assault on the hegemony core worlds. Madam President, the expeditionary fleet is ready for the final phase of Operation Righteous Storm. The aliens chose war when they destroyed New Busan. Now they will learn what human war looks like when we stop holding back. The steel tide of human vengeance was about to crash against the heart of the hegemony, and nothing in the galaxy was strong enough to stop it. The final battle began at Vorthak Prime, the military capital where 4 alien species had ruled space for 800 years. Supreme Admiral Vorethkal commanded the last 43,000 ships of the hegemony fleet. Behind him lay the homeworlds of 4 civilizations. Ahead of him stretched the largest human armada ever assembled. 500,000 human warships filled the space around Vorthak Prime like a metallic storm cloud. Supreme Commander Insu Jang stood on the Iao, Bridge of the Righteous Fury, watching alien formations through his tactical displays. This would be the last battle of the war. After today, either humanity would rule this region of space, or they would be destroyed trying. Commander Kyung-suk Lee led the human assault division from her flagship Vengeance of New Busan. The ship carried soil from the burned colony in a memorial chamber near the bridge. Every human in the fleet knew why they were here. This was not conquest for territory or resources. This was justice for 2 million murdered civilians. Hegemony forces, Commander Lee broadcast on all frequencies. This is the human expeditionary fleet. You are ordered to surrender immediately and submit to war crimes tribunals for the massacre at New Busan. You have 1 hour to comply. Supreme Admiral Vorethkal responded with the arrogance that had doomed his species. Humans, you face the combined might of 4 great civilizations. We do not surrender to primitive species who learned to fly between stars only yesterday. Come and die like your pathetic colonists. Commander Lee looked at her tactical officer and nodded grimly. All ships, commence Operation Final Justice. Show them what happens when humans stop being civilized. The battle that followed was less a fight than a demonstration of human industrial might. Wave after wave of human ships swept through the alien formations like a tsunami, washing over sandcastles. The hegemony fleet had never faced an enemy that outnumbered them 10-1. Weapons Officer Jin Woo Moon coordinated the nanite strikes from his command station. The microscopic weapons dissolved alien hulls at the molecular level, turning massive warships into clouds of scattered atoms. Entire squadrons of hegemony vessels simply ceased to exist as the nanites spread through their formations. Navigation specialist Ye Yun-oh guided the kinetic bombardment ships through the battle. These vessels carried no energy weapons or explosives. Instead, they fired solid metal rods at incredible speeds. When the rods hit alien ships, the kinetic energy was so immense that it shattered the targets completely. Fighter pilot Soo Jin Park led her squadron through the chaos, hunting for alien command vessels. Her pilots had trained for 3 years for this moment. They flew through enemy fire like dancers, their small ships too fast and agile for alien weapons to track. Target the communication arrays, Sujin ordered her wing. Cut off their command structure, and they'll fall apart. The human fighters found their marks with deadly precision. Alien coordination collapsed as command ships exploded one by one. The hegemony fleet began breaking apart into isolated groups that could be destroyed separately. Supreme Admiral Vorath Kal watched his forces disintegrate around him. In 30 minutes of combat, the humans had destroyed over half his fleet. His ships were exploding faster than his tactical computers could track the losses. All remaining vessels retreat to the inner defense perimeter, he ordered desperately. Protect the homeworlds at all costs. But there was nowhere to retreat. Human ships surrounded the entire system, cutting off every escape route. The aliens were trapped in a cage of steel and death, facing an enemy that showed no mercy and asked for none. The last alien ship died 6 hours after the battle began. Supreme Admiral Vorath Kal's flagship exploded in a brilliant flash, taking with it the final symbol of hegemony military power. The species that had ruled this region of space for 8 centuries were now defenseless before human justice. But humanity's response to victory shocked the entire galaxy. Instead of orbital bombardments and planetary invasions, human ships began broadcasting humanitarian aid offers. Ground Commander Ho Jin Kim led medical teams to Vorthak Prime's surface, establishing field hospitals for alien civilians injured in the battle. Medical Officer Yoon Young Jung worked alongside alien doctors, treating wounded Vorthak soldiers and civilians without discrimination. Engineer Dongmin Kwan began restoring power grids and communication networks that had been damaged in the fighting. President Mi Young-han arrived aboard Earth's newest flagship, the New Busan Memorial. The massive vessel carried not weapons of mass destruction, but supplies for reconstruction and relief efforts. Her first action was to meet with the surviving hegemony leadership. The conference took place in the ruins of the Vorthak military headquarters. Representatives from all 4 alien species sat across from human negotiators, expecting death sentences and planetary bombardments. Instead, President Han offered something they had never expected: mercy. "We came here for justice, not genocide," the president announced to the assembled aliens. "The leaders responsible for New Busan will face trial for war crimes, but we have no quarrel with your civilian populations. Humanity seeks peace through strength, not peace through extermination." She gestured to the human ships visible through the chamber's windows. "Let every species in this galaxy understand what happened here. You attacked our civilians, and we responded with the largest military force in galactic history. But we used that force to seek justice, not to commit massacres ourselves." The president's terms were simple but absolute. The hegemony military would be disbanded permanently. The species responsible for New Busan would pay reparations to the human survivors. War crimes tribunals would prosecute those who ordered the B colony's destruction, but civilian populations would be protected. Trade relationships would be restored. The 4 alien species could continue governing their own worlds under human oversight. The Zalani trade representative was the first to accept the terms. The Zalani Consortium agrees to these conditions. We never supported the attack on New Busan. We are prepared to work with humanity for mutual prosperity. The Korvathi science minister followed quickly. The Korvathi Republic accepts human terms. We offer our advanced technology as reparations for our participation in this unfortunate conflict. Even the isolationist Brethren agreed to the peace terms. Only the Vorthak remained defiant to the end. "You may have won this battle," the Vorthak war chief declared, "but you have not broken our spirit. We will never bow to human rule." President Han looked at the proud alien warrior with something approaching respect. "We don't want you to bow. We want you to learn. Your species chose war over diplomacy, conquest over cooperation. Look around. You. See what that choice cost your people." The war chief looked through the windows at the human fleet. Hundreds of thousands of ships filled the sky, each one a reminder of humanity's industrial might. The lesson was clear: attacking human civilians was the worst mistake any species could make. Jae Min Lee arrived on Vorthak Prime wearing the uniform of the Colonial Reconstruction Corps. The survivor of New Busan had spent 3 years preparing for this moment. Now he would help rebuild the worlds that humanity had conquered. I want to show them what New Busan was like, Jaemin told Commander Kim. Not the burning colony they destroyed, but the living world we built. Maybe if they understand what they took from us, they'll understand why we came here. Jaemin worked alongside former enemies, Vorthak farmers and human engineers planting crops together in fields scarred by battle. It was slow work, building trust between species that had been trying to kill each other days earlier. But it was necessary work. Humanity had proven it could destroy civilizations. Now it had to prove it could build them too. The final image of the war was broadcast across the galaxy from the New Busan Memorial Museum, built on a hill overlooking the former Vorthak capital. The museum contained artifacts from the destroyed colony, children's toys, family photographs, pieces of the green fields that had burned 3 years earlier. At the center of the museum stood a simple memorial wall listing the names of all $273,000 people who died at New Busan. Visitors from across the galaxy came to read the names and understand what humanity had lost, and why they had fought so hard to prevent it from happening again. Above the memorial, carved in stone in a dozen alien languages, was humanity's final message to the galaxy. They were our people. They were our children. They were building a better world in the stars. We will remember them forever, and we will never let this happen again. The war was over. Humanity had built 500,000 warships and conquered 4 alien civilizations, but the greatest victory was not military. The greatest victory was that when humans held the power to destroy their enemies completely, they chose mercy instead. They chose to build rather than burn, to heal rather than harm, to teach rather than terrorize. And across the galaxy, every species understood the lesson. Humans were not to be attacked, not because they were weak, but because they were strong enough to choose peace even in victory. The shipyards around Earth continued building vessels, but now they built exploration ships and colony vessels instead of warships. The human tide that had swept across hegemony, space now carried teachers and doctors and engineers instead of soldiers, but the weapons remained ready. The morning sun rose over New Busan like it had every day for 15 years. Hyunwoo Park stood on his office balcony, watching farmers in the green fields below prepare for another harvest. The colony administrator smiled as he sipped his coffee. 2,300,000 people called this world home now. They had turned a dead rock into paradise. Hyunwoo walked back inside and checked the daily reports. The wheat fields were producing record crops. The new children born last month brought the total to 57 healthy babies. Trade ships would arrive next week to buy their food and take it to 12 different star systems. Life was good on New Busan. Captain Sojin Kim was having a normal morning too. She checked her 3 patrol ships docked at the orbital station above the planet. Her small defense force kept pirates away and helped lost travelers find their way. Nothing exciting ever happened here. That was exactly how Sojin liked it. Down in the agricultural center, Jaemin Lee worked with his team to process the morning harvest. His wife Eunji Choi ran the medical clinic in town. They had moved here 5 years ago looking for a quiet life away from Earth's crowded cities. New Busan gave them everything they wanted. At exactly 11:47 local time, everything changed. Sky above New Busan filled with alien ships. Hundreds of them appeared out of nowhere, their dark hulls blocking out the sun. Captain Sojin Kim stared at her screens in shock. Her sensors counted 412 enemy vessels. Her 3 small patrol ships looked like toys next to the massive alien fleet. The lead alien ship sent a message across all frequencies. The voice was cold and mechanical. Humans of New Busan, I am Admiral Kethfar of the Vorthak Empire. You have violated ancient territorial laws. This world belongs to the hegemony. You will evacuate immediately. Hyunwoo Park rushed to his communication center. His hand shook as he opened a channel to the alien fleet. This is Administrator Park. We had no knowledge of any territorial claims. Our survey showed this world was empty when we arrived. Please, we have families here, children, give us time to evacuate safely. The alien admiral's response came quickly. You have 6 hours. Any human remaining after that time will be destroyed, with the colony. 6 hours. Hyunwoo felt his heart stop. It would take 6 hours just to get the evacuation ships ready. They needed at least 3 days to move everyone safely. Admiral, please, we need more time. 72 hours minimum. We have pregnant women, elderly people, small children who cannot travel quickly. 6 hours, the alien repeated. This is final. Captain So-Jin Kim knew what she had to do. Her 3 patrol ships could not fight 400 alien vessels and win. But they could buy time. Every minute her ship stayed alive was another minute for the evacuation ships to load civilians. She opened a channel to her crews. All ships, this is Captain Kim. We cannot win this fight, but we can give our people time to escape. Prepare for attack formation. Today we die as heroes. Down on the planet, chaos filled the streets. Jaemin Lee ran through the town, helping load injured civilians onto the evacuation ships. His wife, Unji, worked frantically in the medical center, preparing patients for transport. Many people were too sick or weak to travel. The first evacuation ship lifted off 30 minutes after the alien ultimatum. It carried 3,000 people. Captain Dong Hyun-yoon, the transport pilot, watched more ships launch behind him. But the math was terrible. They had maybe 20 evacuation ships total. Each ship could carry 3,000 people at most. That was only 60,000 people. More than 2 million would be left behind. Captain So-Jin Kim led her 3 patrol ships toward the alien fleet. The enemy vessels were massive. Her largest ship was the size of their smallest fighter, but she had to try. All ships open fire, she commanded. The human weapons hit the alien shields like raindrops hitting a mountain. The aliens barely noticed the attack. Then they fired back. The first human ship exploded in seconds. The second ship lasted almost a minute before alien weapons tore it apart. Captain So-Jin Kim's flagship fought for 3 minutes. She used every trick she knew, every tactic she had learned. Nothing worked. The alien weapons were too powerful. Their ships were too strong, as though. Her ship died around her. So-Jin sent one final message. New Busan Control, this is Captain Kim. We bought you what time we could. Tell Earth what happened here. Tell them we fought to the end. The explosion lit up the sky like a second sun. Down on the planet, more evacuation ships launched. But time was running out. 5 hours had passed. The aliens would attack soon. Captain Dong Hyun-yoon loaded his ship with whoever he could find. Jaemin Lee carried his wounded wife Yoonji aboard. She had been hurt helping other patients evacuate from the medical center. We have to go, Dong Hyun told the crowd still waiting to board. I'm sorry. There's no more room. Hundreds of people stood on the landing pad, watching the last transport ship close its doors. They knew they would not escape, but they did not panic. They did not scream. They stood together, holding hands, waiting for the end. As the transport ship climbed toward space, Dong Hyun activated his recording systems. Someone needed to witness what happened next. Someone needed to tell Earth the truth. The alien fleet moved into position above New Busan. Admiral Kethvar's voice echoed across the planet one final time. 6 hours have passed. The human colony will now be eliminated. The alien ships began firing. Plasma beams fell from the sky like burning rain. The first shots hit the capital city where Hyunwoo Park had refused to abandon his post. The administrator died at his desk, still trying to coordinate evacuations that would never come. The farms where Jaemin Lee had worked for 5 years burned in seconds. The medical center where Yoonji Choi had saved lives turned to ash and glass. The schools, the parks, the homes where children had played and families had lived, all of it melted under the alien weapons. Captain Dong Hyun-yoon watched from his transport ship as New Busan died. His cameras recorded everything. The green fields turning black, the blue rivers boiling away, the white cities becoming puddles of molten glass. 2.3 million people had lived on New Busan that morning. 30,000 escaped. The rest died in the flames. The alien fleet finished its work and prepared to leave. Admiral Kethvar was satisfied. The humans had been taught their place. They would not dare challenge the hegemony again. But Kethvar had made one critical mistake. He let some humans escape. And humans, he would soon learn, never forgot. Captain Dong Hyun Yoon set course for Earth. His ship carried the survivors and the complete recording of New Busan's destruction. The journey would take 3 weeks. When they arrived, everything would change. The message was simple. Humanity's first colony was gone. 2 million innocent people were dead. And the aliens thought they had won. They were very, very wrong.